today. The excessive heat.
Yep.
In addition to that, the thunderstorms, some of them severe and producing larger size hail. Golf ball size hail already reported in some communities. All right, here's your Capital Chef Sky Cam. No golf ball size hail in Calgary right now. I mean, we have the potential for it over these next couple of hours. It certainly is a little gusty, up to 40 kilometers per hour, but we have a lot of storms off in the foothills, and some of these are really intensifying. So we'll talk about that. But first, we'll talk about the temperatures. So 29 degrees is the high right now. That puts us in that warning criteria for at least a daytime high of 29 and an overnight low of 14. So we certainly meet that today, and we'll get hotter as we go through the next few days. 30 right now in Lethbridge, 33 in Brooks, 31 in Medicine Hat and Milk River, and 33 in Cranbrook. So certainly a lot of heat, a lot of places in those 30s for today, which is why the excessive heat warning is in place for many communities, most of Alberta. The only place is not in it, Rocky Mountain Hills area and through Banff. And it's not because the daytime highs are low. They're still looking at daytime highs in the 30s for these areas and Pincher Creek, Christmas Pass, but the overnight lows will be a little more reasonable, so maybe a little bit of relief from that heat is possible. All right, let's pop in the watches and warnings. Severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in place. So the watches in the yellow all along the foothills and the warnings in place here, as you can see. So I'm going to pop in the radar here so you can see what's happening. And there's a number of cells that have developed, and they're tracking off to the east. There's also some over further to the east, which we'll talk about in just a second. But let me zoom into a couple of things here and show you the cells that are producing some intense weather right now. So you can see the purple in this cell. This one tracking likely towards the Nanton area. Now, it might die out significantly before it gets to Nanton, but this one is tracking east and southeast at times. This one, yes, producing some hail, producing some huge downpours right now as well. And you can see the one that's developing off to the south. This one is getting pretty intense as well. So these one tracking, a lot of them are dying out before they hit Highway 2 and QE2. There is one that had developed just off to the west of Calgary, was tracking towards Calgary, but has since died out and is just rainfall right now. There's also a cell, again, I've popped the lightning out of this so you could see the actual cells, but you can see these cells tracking towards Medicine Hat. This one comes with lightning, bigger downpours. I'm not seeing any hail with this one yet, though. But again, this is one of those days to take things seriously with regards to if you see this active weather in your area, definitely head indoors, get the car indoors if you can as well. All right, so you can see what's happening even up until 7:30 p.m. along QE2. Less likely of seeing that in Calgary for tonight, and through the overnight hours out east, still looking at some of this activity as well, in through the overnight hours up until about 4 a.m. Now tomorrow in the morning it will be quiet and sunny in Calgary, and then a small chance of any sort of late day development. Capital Chef 5-day forecast, 31 for tomorrow. Small chance of any sort of late day thunderstorms, so pretty good day. Better chance of seeing that activity and showers on Thursday, and then more stable for Friday and the weekend with highs around 32 and 33 degrees.
Let's check in with Danielle again and get a closer look at our 5-day forecast. It is still super hot, and it actually feels hotter than it even is out there.
Yeah, you're right. So all afternoon we felt well into the 30s in Calgary with that humidity, and even right now with the base temperature of 27 degrees, it feels closer to 30 right now with that humidity. And these temperatures again are measured in the shade, so if you step out in the sunlight, feels even hotter. And it's not just a day, it's not just 2 days, it's not just a week, it's about a 10 to 11 day stretch of this heat. So we'll talk more about that in just a little bit, but let's talk about the other stuff. So right now, yes, this is where we have the excessive heat warnings in place. Much of the province, the only place not under the heat warning right now is Rocky Mountain House through Banff, Pincher Creek, Christmas Pass. These areas not under it, but still daytime highs in the 30s. It's just the overnight lows are a little lower than the other areas, meaning some relief from the heat at nighttime is possible. All right, so I layered this because we have a lot to talk about on the watches and warnings map here. All along the foothills in the yellow here, severe thunderstorm watch in place. Calgary is included in this. However, I'm not seeing anything headed towards us right now anyway. And you can see that in the orange here, that's the severe thunderstorm warning in place. So here's what we've had throughout the last 3 hours. Again, you can see a lot of this has died out, but we still have these storms here. So I'm going to zoom in. Mainly along Highway 22 is where we're getting all this activity, and it's tracking south along Highway 22, not really making it over to Highway 2. And some of these cells, yes, have come with some larger size hail, some huge downpours, certainly some lightning. I just popped that off the map so you could see these cells. Now, there is the possibility that Nanton, Claresholm, Fort Macleod, you'll see a little bit of this activity, but a lot of this is tracking down towards 22 and losing its intensity before it makes it to the Highway 2. For Calgary here, you can see a lot of it has died out before it got to us as well. So we're not looking at anything tracking towards us right now, but we still have the potential over these next couple hours, even though it's a smaller chance for Calgary. So just heads up, keep your eye on the sky. Of course, any thunderstorms right now are storms to take seriously because we have all the heat and humidity in place. You can see these cells tracking towards the Medicine Hat area, but dying out as well. So starting to quiet down for the night. All right, let's look at the futurecast. Hour by hour, there is the potential of even pockets of showers up through until about 10 o'clock at night. Then, as you can see in the overnight hours, this is at 4 o'clock in the morning, around Coronation, Hannah, Oyen. These areas could see some thunderstorm activity in those overnight hours. But look at the morning tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. Yeah, lots of heat. There will be some development off in the foothills that will track off to the east, but likely won't make it over to the QE2. And we have a very small chance of getting any sort of activity like that in Calgary. So Capital Chev 5-day forecast, a little more stable for tomorrow. Lots of sunshine, a high of 31, feeling more like 34 with that humidity. We will be in the 30s for these next 5 days. In fact, 32 for Friday and Saturday and 33 for Sunday. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle.
Okay, Capital Chev Skywatch camera, and it's quiet in Calgary compared to what's going on to the south, especially along parts of Highway 22. So we'll talk about that. And of course, we're going to talk about the heat. And I'm going to show you the 10-day trend and when we may get a little bit of relief from the heat. I say a little bit because we're still looking at hot weather for the next 10 days. All right, 27 is the current temperature. It still feels like 30, though, with that humidity. And our daytime high was 29. Earlier this afternoon with the humidity, it felt more like 33. So as you can see, if you compare us in the west, here. We are the hotter province in the west. For out east, well, 28 was the high in Toronto, so they had some heat, but they also had some moisture, and they had a big storm. Tara was showing you earlier. This was the storm that swept through there, giving them one of the rainiest days on record in Toronto, almost 100 millimeters of rain today. That's what happened there. We have our own issues out west with the severe thunderstorm watch in place all along the foothills, and even a severe thunderstorm warning in place. Also, most places are under the excessive heat warning in Alberta. So it's only going to get hotter, so make sure you're prepared for that. You can see a lot of this is dying out for the night. There's nothing tracking towards Calgary right now with regards to thunderstorms, but you can see this pocket of cells here. I'm going to zoom into that so you can see. Pop out the lightning. Basically along Highway 22 is where we're getting that activity, and just off to the west as well. So this is to the west of Nanton, west of Claresholm. Some of these cells coming with some larger size hail, big downpours, and of course a lot of lightning. All right, 39 degrees for Kamloops for tomorrow, feeling more like 44 with that humidity. 32 for Edmonton. Rocky Mountain House down the foothills. There is a small chance of some thunderstorm development tomorrow, but Calgary, sunshine and 31. 33 for Lethbridge with some sunshine in Medicine Hat. We'll see some cloud and some sun. Looking at that Capital Chev 10-day trend, look how long we're dealing with daytime highs in the 30s. It really extends up until at least Wednesday of next week. In fact, 34 by Tuesday next week. Now, we will dip just below that heat warning criteria for Thursday and Friday next week, but still hot, and likely on Thursday of next week, still feeling into the 30s with that humidity. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. Water